Hello guys, and welcome back to another Spacemacs ABC video. I realize it's been a while. It's been a while because of Christmas and because I've been quite busy at work. Um, but I just finished a major deadline and now I have a little bit more time, so I figured um, I should do more videos. And last time I believe I promised that we would get starting on P for projects and L for layouts. Um, yeah, because we made our way through K, and L and P are sort of they kind of go together. And I decided that it would be best to do P first, because some stuff in L depends on P, and but the vice versa is not the case. As you can see, I've also enabled the command log layer here. So it should give you this sort of running view of what keys I'm pressing. Um, I have reduced the font size a little bit, but I don't think I want to keep it like the full width here. So I'm gonna try to do something like this, so that at least you can see what keys I'm pressing and part of the actual command name, and that should help you out. So for all of those wondering what I'm doing, what I'm typing when I do this, well, there you go. It's Control E and Control Y. Right. I think that's about it. So let's get started on the projects then. Um, the Spacemacs notion of project is defined by a package called projectile, and anything in a subfolder where, well, how do I put this? A project is defined as any folder which has a version control system uh, folder in there. So a .git or .hg or .svn or something like this. Anything in a subfolder of these folders recursively will be considered part of that project. And whenever you visit a file in a project for the first time, Projectile will remember that project. And if you do space pp, you will see a list of all the projects that Projectile remembers. I wonder why my home folder is here, but anyway. So in particular, you will see .emacs.d, which is a Git repository where Spacemacs lives, right? And you will also see um, .spacemacs.d, which is where I keep my personal configuration for Spacemacs. So yeah, so if you hit enter here, you will be taken to a list of files in that project, and this Helm session also has a list of all the projects still. So if you want to switch to something else, you can go there as well. So space pp, list of projects, and then space pf. This is what you get when you hit enter, or you get a list of files in a given project. Um, so this is my dot file, and if I do space pf here, I get a list of files in that project that has my dot file in it. So in particular, this is the one I'm in right now, init.l, and here are my layers, readme, and so on. So you can just skip to a file in a project. Those are probably the two biggest commands you need to know if you want to work with projects. A couple of other tricks you want to do, what you want to know about in the space pp Helm session is you can hit Control S to search in a project without necessarily opening it first. So if I want to search in Spaceline, I can do Control S, and I can search for Spacemacs in Spaceline. And this is the same you would get if you actually opened a file in that project and typed space /. Uh, it uses the same search tool as you would have normally gotten, and so on. In addition, another binding that I'm very fond of is Alt-G, which opens Magit for that project without having to first open a file and then do space GS to open the Magit's status. So those are really handy, I think. And okay, so that's basically what I know. That's what I use daily from the projects menu. And now we'll get into the stuff that I don't use daily, or stuff that I don't know about at all. Space P exclamation point projectile run shell command in project root, I think, is what they mean here. So if I do pwd, yeah, I get the output from that command, and it shows me where the project root is. So if I do ls ... I should get a list of files in my home folder in this case, which seems like that's correct. So yep, run shell command in project root. This is coupled with a space exclamation point, which runs a shell command in the folder of your current buffer, right? And now in this case they are the same, so there's no difference there. Space P ampersand projectile run async shell command. Okay, so this is essentially the same thing, except it's asynchronous. I wonder if we have a space ampersand. No, we don't. That's something that we might want to have. Run asynchronous. Can I spell this word? So yeah, we should probably make a space ampersand for this. Space P A toggle between implementation and test. Okay, so if you're in a file, it should open the test file for that file, and vice versa. And I'm sure there's some strange heuristics going on here for figuring out what that is. Let's have a look. Find implementation or tests. Given a file name, return a matching implementation or test file name. Projectile find matching file. Projectile find matching tests. Yeah, there's a lot of... I don't know how this works exactly. One might imagine that... well, hopefully it works alright. I don't have any tests in particular for this. Do I have Badger? No, I don't. Do I have any project at all with any tests at all? I'm not a huge tester, as you can probably imagine. Stockfish? Are there tests there? Evil has tests. I know that. Evil L space PA. No matching test file found. Okay, so I'm not going to spend more time figuring out how that works. Hope that it's configurable, because it sounds like a useful binding. Switch between implementation and test file. Space P B projectile switch to buffer. Okay, so I don't have any buffers there. Yeah, so it lists the buffers that you have open in the current project. So it's like Helm Mini at space BB, only restricted to a project. List buffers in project. Space P C, compile project, compile command, pwd. Yeah, so it runs in that folder. So if I open a file in a different folder, yeah, it runs in the root folder of the project. So it's essentially like spacecc. No, it's essentially like spacec capital C, except it runs in the root folder of the project. So C, compile, run in project root. Yeah, compile in project root. Let's say space P D find directory. So this is a list of all the directories and subdirectories in your project. And if I do enter here, I should get, yeah, your favorite directory manager, which is Ranger, obviously. And I guess if you don't have the Ranger layer, you'll get Dired. Yeah, find directories in a project. Space P, capital D, projectile Dired. So this opens Dired in your project root, or in my case Ranger, which, as you all know, is totally awesome. Thank you, Rich Alesi, for this. It's really, really cool. Open Dired Ranger in project root. Space P F. We've seen that. G or capital G, regenerate tags. Do I now have a tags file? I do. Did I have that before? Not sure. I might have, because I've been experimenting with tags before. And I've found the experience not exactly very amusing. So I think in the future we'll have to have a cleanup on the tag support in Spacemacs, but for now I'm just going to silently skip over it and pretend like everything's fine. Regenerate tags. Space P H, helm projectile. Okay, so this is what you get if you hit enter in space PP on your current project. So it lists the current buffers you have open in your project in your project, and also all the files in. Okay, so it's not exactly the same as what you get then. I'm sorry, I'm just confused. So it lists the open buffers in the project, it lists all the files in the project, and then it lists all the projects. So if you are if you're a heavy user of space PP and space PF, you can consider using this as a shortcut for all of them at once. And space PB, I think, also. That's nice. I didn't know about this. So helm projectile all in one. Space P I, invalidate cache. So the file list that you get in space PF, it used to be cached by default, at least on Linux systems. But now we switched that over to. So let me see there. So if you have a look at the variable called projectile indexing method, it can be set to native or alien. Alien means essentially to run external programs to find the list of files. This is pretty fast because external programs is assumed to be good. But if you're running on a system that don't have the external programs that you might expect, such as Windows, you might consider switching this to native. And I think Spacemacs does this by default, although don't quote me on that. And native is good because it runs everywhere, because it's just Emacs Lisp, but it's slow. And for that reason, if you're running native, projectile will cache the list of files. Now, the problem with that is, of course, that you might run into a problem where the cache is old and stale, and you might want to invalidate it. And you can do that with space P capital I, invalidate cache. Just to note though that if you are running on Linux or if your indexing method is set to alien, you shouldn't have to invalidate the cache because I think projectile doesn't use cache if you set the indexing method to alien. Anyway, space P K kill buffers. Are you sure you want to kill 9 buffers? I didn't think I had 9 buffers there. Space PB shows 4. Do I have stuff like Magit or something? I don't know. Oh, I have help. I have this. I have this and this shell command output. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that space PB won't show by default, but I still can't make it 9. 10 now. Okay, whatever. Kill buffers in project. I'm sure there's a way to find those buffers that I'm missing. Space P L. Yeah, let's wait with that until we do the video on layouts. Space PO multi-occur list lines matching regex. Spacemacs. Okay, so this is like this buffer is not evilified. Wait, what was that binding again? Space PO. Do a multi-occur in the project's buffers. Show all lines in buffers matching a match for regexp. Okay, so it's a sort of search in open buffers. It's not exactly the same as space / because it only searches in the buffers that you have open in Emacs. Occur. Yeah, like this Helm Mini. I don't need that buffer. So yeah, if this buffer wasn't in Emacs state, it might be useful. I guess if I hit enter, I'll get taken there. Are there any other fancy bindings in here? Display occurrence. Beginning, end, describe. Okay. Yeah, so there's probably a bit of work we could do that to make that evilified and useful, but for now, I guess I'll just list the binding. Projectile multi-occur. Search in project buffers. So note that is not project files. Space P. P. Yeah, and I don't know the alphabet, so I have to reorder here. Space P. R. Recent files. Recent files in a project. Pretty simple. Recent files in project. Space P capital R projectile replace. Okay, let's try this. Replace .spacemacs or replace spacemacs with something else. Question mark for help. Okay. So this then does a project-wide search and replace, and and I get queried by default for everything here. Period to replace one match. And exit. Okay, so now I exited because I did period. Undo, thanks. Okay. I can play around with those key bindings later. Typically, though, I use forward slash and Control C, Control E, which is a trick that you will find in the Spacemacs documentation. Um, but it involves iEdit and can be kind of awkward sometimes. So I guess this is another way to do it. Space P, capital R, project-wide search and replace. Nice. I didn't know about that one either. Space P T. This opens NeoTree in the project root. It's the same as the space FT, except it finds a specific folder for you. And yeah, I was. This thing messes with my windows, man. Not sure how big a fan I am of this. Space PET NeoTree in project root. Space P capital T find test file. So I guess this is essentially the same as space PA, except it just finds the test file and doesn't toggle. And I think projectile actually has a function also to switch between a header file and an implementation file for C-like languages. But I don't see the binding here. That would be useful. We should put that in somewhere. T find test file. Compare with space PA. Space P V projectile VC. Okay, so since I am in a Git repository, I get magit. Okay, so it opens the root directory, it uses magit if it's available, or monkey for HG if it is available. But since I use basically just Git, then I think space GS is anyway useful enough for me. Open VC status window, whatever that may be. Space P Y find tag. Yes. No, what did that do? Find tag in project. Shouldn't I be queried for the tag to use or what? Space P G regenerate tags. Space PY compilational K. What the fuck do you mean? I don't know. Find tag. Like I said, tags is a big question mark for me right now. I'll have to look at that later. Yeah, so that's projects. And should I do layouts right now? I guess we can. There's not that many bindings here. So I don't know what this command log window will figure out what it wants to do here when we start doing layouts, because it might vanish. But I don't mind. So layouts is a pretty new feature. It's a workspace implementation that uses something called persp mode in the back. And unlike what's it called? Unlike eyebrows, it actually can do something like buffer separation between workspaces. And if you are using the Spacemacs distribution, then you get layouts by default. If you are using Spacemacs base, then you need to use the Spacemacs layouts um, layer to get it. All the layouts functions are available under Space L. And this is a microstate. And here you can see it shows that I have one layout called home. By default, you already have a single layout, always. And if you don't care about layouts, if you don't use them, then it should be transparent to you. Nothing special will happen. There are some variables here that you might want to change. This is one that sets the default layout name, which I have it set to home, and that's why it says home right here. I have set display default layout to nil. Typically, there's a mode line segment right here that displays the name of the layout you're currently using. But if you are on the home layout, if this is set to nil, then it won't show anything. And there's also one here for auto resume layouts for loading and saving files. About you can save the layouts to a file and load them, but I haven't tried that. Nor do I think I will try it now. So how do layouts work? You can do space L, and you can inspect the key bindings here. Question mark for toggle help. 0 to 9 for switching to the nth layout, and I think if I do 0 now, it says the perspective in this position doesn't exist. Do you want to create one? No. So let's create a new layout on 2. Do you want to create one? Yes. And I have to give it a name. Test. Okay, and if I now quit the microstate, you can see that it says test here. And all my windows are gone. And if I do space L1, I get back here. And now it says nothing, which means I'm in the home layout and all my windows are back. So this is what Eyebrows does for you, right? It gives you layouts. But there's more. If I do space L2 now to go to the test layout, and I do space LB, let me turn off the documentation there. I do space LB. It doesn't show me any of the buffers in the other layout. That's because space LB is basically Helm Mini, except it restricts itself to buffers that have been added to the current layout. If I do space BB, you can see I can see all the buffers. So if I now switch to messages and I do space LB, it shows me scratch and messages. So essentially, this restricted buffer list, it shows 3 types of layouts. I think. Don't quote me on this 100%, but I think it shows 3 types of buffers. Sorry, not layouts, buffers. It always shows the scratch buffer. It always shows buffers that you may have visible on screen, I think. I'm not 100% sure why the command log buffer doesn't show. If I switch back, yeah, it doesn't show anyway, so it's hidden by some mechanism. So that's fine. So it shows always a scratch buffer. It always shows buffers that you have visible on the screen, and it also only shows buffers that have been added to the current layout. So if I now switch back to the scratch buffer, you can see that the messages buffer doesn't show. That's because it's neither visible nor screen, nor has it been added to the layout. In order to add it to the layout, I have to explicitly add it. I can do space L. Let's see, add all buffers from another layout, add all buffers from another layout in the current one. Select a buffer, blah, blah, blah. Really? close the current layout, close the other layouts, go to default layout. Thought there was a way to add just a single buffer here. What if I do space LA? Okay, so that one adds a single buffer. It doesn't. It says add all the buffers from another layout in the current one. That doesn't exactly. Yeah, we need to change this documentation. But okay, so if I do space LA and I say I want to add the abc.org buffer to this layout, then it actually, okay, so it opens that buffer. If I then switch back to messages and do space LB, it shows abc.org scratch and messages, because now I have added the abc.org buffer to this layout. So a buffer can be added to several layouts at the same time. So there's no need to keep them separate, and they can overlap and all this stuff. Now, unfortunately, making layouts this way is kind of tedious. You would rather not do it manually. So that's why we have something called custom layouts. So if you open space LO, and you can see here the list of all the custom layouts that have been defined. There is a macro called Spacemacs define custom layout that allows you to define a custom layout. Surprise. So if let me do space LH to go home, and then I can open my file for the ERC layer that I have written. I think I have a custom layout here. No, I have it in my dot file, sorry. Let me see, where is it? Here, Spacemacs define custom layout. So it takes the name of a layout, it takes a binding, which is where it will show up here in the custom layouts menu, and then it takes some code that will run when you open that layout for the first time. And in this case, I have some code that will connect to Gitter using ERC and Freenode as well. In addition to this, I have in my ERC layer, I have a function that adds a perspective to the ERC layer. I call it bb add buffer to ERC perspective, and then I have added this hook to ERC mode hook. So whenever an ERC buffer appears, it will be added to the ERC perspective. So the practical upshot of this is that I can do space LO, I can press capital E, it will open a new perspective for me, and it will connect to all my IRC channels, and all those IRC channels will be added to that perspective. So now you can see I'm here in the Gitter channel for Spacemacs, and here I am in evil mode and Spacemacs channel on Freenode and so on. And if I do space LB, I hate this, space LB, you can see that I have here 6 IRC channels added to this perspective. In addition, I have the status buffers here for the IRC connections as well as the scratch buffer, of course. So let's go home and let us start typing some stuff here. So what have we learned now? 0 to 9, switch to perspective by number. Let's call it layout. Space LA, add a buffer to the current perspective, current layout. We have learned about space LB, list buffers, space L H, go to the home layout, space L O, open a custom layout, space L, yeah, those are the ones we've learned about so far. In addition, here you have space L tab to switch to the previous layout. Tab, switch to previous layout. You have space LA, add all the buffers from another layout. That's capital A, sorry, add all buffers from another layout instead of just one as a small a does. Space L C, close the current layout, but doesn't delete the buffers. Okay, so if I do space L2 to open my test layout and do space LC, yeah, it closes the test layout and it gives ERC the number 2 here. Close layout, don't kill buffers. And capital C, close other layouts, don't kill buffers. Space LL, select create a layout with Helm. Okay, so space LL, it opened. I hate this. There, it opens a Helm session with a list of all the current perspectives or layouts, and then if you type a name for something that doesn't exist, you can create a new one. So that's essentially the same as space L. Space L. What was it? Yeah, space L. Type a number that doesn't exist, and then create a name, right? So that's that space LL. List layouts or create a new one. Space L, capital L, and capital S allows you to load perspectives from a file. So space L, capital S asks you for a perspective name to save. So let's save the home perspective. Okay. So it's a list of yeah, you can choose many. So if I do home and ERC and done, and I want to save it to the file called persp autosave. Keep other perspectives in the file? No. So if I now open that file, cache layouts, persp autosave, it will be a whole bunch of Lisp here, which I will not inspect. But presumably then if I do space L, capital L, and load from that file, I will of course change nothing because I already had loaded those perspectives already. So that can be really useful, I guess. It seems like the default directory for this is wait, did I delete that buffer? I guess I did. But it seems like the default directory for this is in .cache layouts. So that's where you'll find those files. Load layouts from file, S save layouts to file. Okay, space L, N and P allows you to browse through here. You can also use N and capital N or C, L and CH. N, P, wait, N, CL, next layout, capital N, P, CH, previous layout. Just in case you are not very interested in typing numbers, and let's be fair, who are really interested in typing numbers. Space LO, open custom layouts. We have seen that. Why am I unable to sort things according to the alphabet? Space LR. So this removes the buffer from the current layout. So if I do space LN space LR, okay, so it does query for which one to remove. So let's remove. Wait, what? These are not buffers in this layout. Okay, so let's remove the Emacs channel. Okay, and then it's not listed here. But I would have expected this list to only show the buffers in the actual layout that I'm interested in, or the current layout, right? Um, so yeah, we might have some work to do there. I'm also a little bit disappointed that all these, a lot of these functions apparently use Helm, use IDO and not Helm, and that is a little bit. Well, I mean, it's not bad. IDO isn't bad, but it's a bit of a. It shows a little bit of inconsistency that I'm not a big fan of. So, if we could get those to use Helm or the new Ivy layer, then that would be nice, I guess. Where was I? Space LR, remove buffer from layout. Space L capital R, rename layout. So if I can rename the home layout, tralala. Okay, I guess I can't. Can I rename the ERC layout? Tralala. Yes, I can. Space L S, save all layouts. Okay, that's nice. So there's a function here for saving all layouts, so you don't have to worry about picking which ones. Save all layouts to file, and then I can write specific here. Okay, space L T, show a buffer without adding it to the current layout. But I thought that's what space BB does. So let me switch to my tralala layout and do space BB packages.l, and I switch back, and there's no packages.l here. So why do I need why do I need space LT then? I'm not sure. Show buffer without adding it to the layout. Okay, space L X, kill the current layout and its buffers. And capital X, kill other layouts. Yeah, so that was our companion key bindings to C and capital C. Great, and that leaves just one binding that I didn't show you, and that is W. Now, all the key bindings associated with the eyebrows layer have been removed from space capital W and moved here into space LW because they are ultimately workspace-like functions. Now, what's cool about eyebrows now in Spacemacs is that they are specific to layouts. So if I do space LW and go to my second workspace here, I'm still in the home layout. So if I do space LN to go to my tralala layout and then do space LW, you will see that I have only one workspace. So workspaces are now a second level of of organization below layouts. And that, I believe, makes the Spacemacs layout system probably the most powerful workspace-like tool in all of Emacs land. I think I can claim that. I may be mistaken, in which case please correct me, but those two working in conjunction makes for a really, really powerful tool. If you care enough about it to use it, I tend to not use it too much, but then again, I'm not a massive power user either. So great, I managed to put projects and layouts in the same video. We will skip M because those are major mode commands, and we can deal with those if we do more topical videos like Python and LaTeX. So next video, I guess I will continue because many of these will be quite short. Space N and space Q. There are not that many things there. Space R. Yeah, there's not that many things there either. Capital R. Perl compatible regular expressions. Goodness, that'll be fun. Space S. Yeah, here's a bunch of things. So next video I might do something like N, Q, R, and capital R. And that should bring us pretty close to the end of the alphabet. Great, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.